just wanted to start obviously with Aaliyah and
Mm.
ask you about that. And uh, I'm sure other people ask you what kind of player she is and things like that. But what was that recruitment process like, and just how big of a moment was that when you found out that she's coming to Norman?
It's her recruiting process started, when I first got here, and we tried to recruit, obviously young players, and you try to develop relationships, um and at the same time it's been a really long process, but also feels like yesterday watching her, before she was in high school, and it gives you a lot of faith in, um they're people of their word, and we've talked a ton, and everybody, as makes so many assumptions. I've never had so many assumptions outside of what people think happened in a recruiting process than what actually did happen. And especially in our world of portal, and we're talking so many things, and at the end of the day, she picked, our program because of the relationships she has with our coaches, with our players. She really liked our team. Um, and just a style of play that really fit. And so that was kind of it. Now, we would have liked that months ago, and we joke about it. And at the same time, I think everything happens for reasons, and it was a fun timing for them. And you don't get to usually watch it, on ESPN live and not know. We had no idea. Everyone thinks we knew. We didn't know that that's what she was going to choose. We were hopeful, but it was pretty cool. And now she's just kind of been on a tour everywhere, and and it's back to work as usual.
Coach, you all like to play really fast, and it seems like that's something Aaliyah is really keen to. Is that something that you all talked about a lot about, just the play style of her and your program and what you all want to mesh together going forward? Is that something you all talked about there?
Yeah, of course. And I think, and she really watched a lot of basketball this year from style of play. So a lot of it isn't just the pace of play and playing fast. It's obviously it's getting her in different positions and playing in some space, and having some really good returners coming back too. I mean, she looked at this, and she's looking at rosters, and she wants to put herself in a position to help, come in and be able to lead in a way, but also have really great leadership around her. And so she's just excited to be able to get in. So of course it's about the pace of play and the style of play, but it's also about making those reads, and they're people that do their homework, and they're really looking at, okay, where's a place that she can get better? And so she wants to get better. She's not a player that's coming in with a lot of ego. She's confident, but she also knows she has a lot of work to do. And but no, I mean, style of play was probably maybe the number one thing that we talked about. And she's going to get to come in and play with some great players that have high level basketball feel.
Jennie, you've had, whether it be Peyton and Reagan in the portal, big recruiting wins, Sahara, Aaliyah. What does stacking those together do as far as the response of Oklahoma basketball and kind of the momentum? We talk about recruiting momentum so much. What does that do for you guys off the floor?
Well, it brings an attention to you, and it brings I still think we're a little bit, we're getting more national exposure, obviously, in the SEC. Our program success. We didn't like our seed, like in a, not that you don't like your seed, you just don't like your matchup with Connecticut, obviously, in the NCAA tournament. But you can see that we're getting better. You can see that we're heading in the right direction. And it's because a lot of those decisions that a lot of those players have made. And when you have those kind of quote unquote accolades behind you, whether it's like you said, Sahara, Peyton, a Reagan, you connect with other players at that level too. When you're at Aaliyah was just at the Jordan Brand Classic, she's playing for McDonald's game. So they have a lot of those connections, and then you're getting Oklahoma talked about a lot on a national level. And so you can see that there's a lot of recruits that are a little bit more interested than maybe they were when I first got here a few years ago. And this is a program that has a great foundation, and it does, especially for our sports program as a whole, when we have multiple sports programs here competing for national championships. So I think it's a mix of all of that. And you can see that momentum really going forward. And Aaliyah's one that it kind of brings both, because some people are like, hold on, is there too much there? Or is this the right place to be able to come in and to be able to go? And so that's been something interesting navigating in the portal as well.
Jennie, you added a couple other girls to this class too. What do you just like about this recruiting class as a whole, with Aaliyah in it now too?
Yeah, I love our recruiting class. I think it's exactly what we need at the time that we need it. I think, Keziah Lofton, she was obviously injured for most of the season this year in her senior year, which is kind of unfortunate, but I love her potential. I think she is, she's a lefty and she can create so much. Her and Aaliyah actually kind of grew up playing together in club basketball when they were really young. So that's kind of a cool story. And she's she's a great leader. She's got great demeanor. I think her best basketball is completely ahead of her. She's got so much athleticism. I think she can bring a defensive mindset as well. Brooklyn Stewart is one I'm really, really excited about. She is young. For her grade, but she is an amazing athlete, or she's an amazing leader. Her energy coming into a place, her skill set, she can really stretch her range, but also just does what the team needs when the team needs it, and she's just a winner. So I'm really excited to be able to mesh the three of them. I think they're just a perfect class coming in with the perfect leadership that we have. And hopefully we're not done. We're still recruiting out of the portal too, some experience, but I love who we have coming back, because this team is going to be really, really exciting to watch.
Coach Reagan announced that she's coming back and Peyton's coming back as well. How important is it to have these two as a leader on the team for next season with this new recruiting class coming in?
Well, it's so interesting now having to announce that you're coming back, but but that I guess is part of it. But I think, I've been really impressed with the leadership in our off season. We have 6 returners that we're getting to work with right now. And I love the way that they're attacking every day. So it's not even just Reagan and Peyton, although I think they're great vocal leaders for us. Sahara Williams has been just a phenomenal leader for us. And then to even be able to watch Beatrice Culleton step into a whole different level of what we need to do as a program. I mean, you talk about somebody who puts their heart and soul into Oklahoma. You have to have players like that. And then obviously like our young players in terms of Zaya Van and Kaya Smith, I think they've done a great job of attacking the work ethic and being able to show up every day to know that they're going to continue to get better too, but also to keep those freshmen really in line as well, to make sure that they're, understanding what they're going to be coming into as well. So I'm really excited about the returners that we have as well, because they are very, very invested, not just in our program or not just in playing, but in Oklahoma.
And Coach, Kaya didn't really play much this season. What are your hopes for her in the next season and seasons to come?
Well, I do think it's hard to manage 14 players and to be able to get enough experience for so many. But what she did do is it was a developmental year for her. I think she's grown her game. I think she's grown her skill set. I think she's grown in her leadership skills. So, even though people don't see it necessarily on game day in terms of minutes averaged, our team can see and feel what she's been able to do every day, and she's continued to get better. So we won't have as many numbers next year as we did this year. I don't know if you can, to be honest. I don't know if we can continue to be able to do that in our new world. So we'll manage what we can manage, but we want our players to come in here and be ready to play and to be able to be able to grow, and she's been in a great example of growing. But she will be able to step up this season.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Jennie, when you talk about back to what you said a little bit earlier of having other players come in and now have to look at on the other side and say, is there going to be enough for me? How different is that for you this portal cycle? There's always is X player going to be in front of me in a rotation, stuff like that. How different is it to be doing that from kind of the top of the talent pool in the transfer portal?
Well, it's been interesting because, we've done pretty well in terms of our retention. And that's what you want to be able to do. We still want to be able to grow our players here, and we want them to develop here, and we want them to love this place. And you still want those, that longevity of their career, but also the players that are coming in, that have transferred in or that we're recruiting to transfer in. They're looking at our team now saying, okay, now we want to compete for championships. We want to compete for SEC championships. We want to compete for national championships. And we're starting to put ourselves in those positions to be able to have those conversations. And I think that's invaluable. And so you can tell right away the players that say, okay, I want to come here and I want to make that kind of an impact on the team, or I want to come and I want to play. Well, that helps us. Right? We know the players that are like, this is where I want to come and I want to win. And this is the place I want to come play. The players that want to just come and play, that don't have that championship mindset coming in, aren't probably going to come in and be as successful as the ones that say, no, I want to go there and I want to make an impact and I want to win. And we can do that. And so that has been a little bit more selective in our approach to that portal, because we do have some great players returning, but we're also ready to welcome a couple more. And it's also been really interesting from our current players saying, no, these are the people that we want in this program that are going to come in and help lead us to another space. When we first started recruiting, I think the idea of competing for a national championship or even competing in the SEC, it wasn't necessarily there. It was, I want to come in and I want to play. And now it's a whole different mindset shift. It's a whole different level of work. It's a whole different level of what your commitment is every day as well. And I think that's also something that it takes really special people, but it's been so fun to be able to watch those people really start to have more vested interest in our program. And we're recruiting against the top of the top, the most elite programs in the country. And that's a testament to the retention. That's a testament to the seniors that just have built something really special here that are graduating, but also where this program is going and how people can see it.
Jennie, you talked about the length of Aaliyah's recruitment, and obviously the landscape has changed pretty significantly in college athletics, in women's college basketball during that time. And he also talked about sort of the talk or I can't remember how you phrased it, but some of the things that have been thrown around with that.
Mm-hmm.
Just what was that like to manage with NIL and just everything else that's going on when you're recruiting an athlete where obviously that's a big part of things.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was almost more because there were so many rumors that we were paying her millions of dollars, right? And it's just simply not true. And that was something that was hard to even navigate in your own locker room, right? Because there are so many different things that people just say to say. And as much as even what schools you're recruiting against, there were so many opinions out there on who you're recruiting against and how much they're paying and how much, and then the world of social media just kind of takes it where they want to take it. And I think that's been, and you can't say anything, and as much as her family wants to say, hold on, we're in this for the right reasons. We're still looking for the right fit. People are going to believe what they want to believe. And so that has been a lot more interesting because there's so much attention on her because she's a highly ranked player. She's the national player of the year. And there was so much that went into that. So that was just an interesting process trying to navigate from our seat because we've never had to navigate that. And you've always had to navigate rumors, but not to the extent of what you're now navigating. And that also shows how many eyes are on our sport from a national level. I mean, there are a lot of eyes on our sport right now, and our attention in women's basketball is continuing to elevate, which has been really impressive. So that process of the recruiting was not just writing her a letter every once in a while or getting to talk on the phone and having fun getting to know her and then saying, okay, here's the style of play and here's how you're going to fit. It was a whole different element of trying to manage that. And so there were moments that were, and by the way, they signed late. And by the way, the national letter of intent's not even there anymore. It's now these financial aid agreements. And oh, by the way, then you have the portal opening in the same day that they're announcing it and the day before we go to the Sweet 16. So as much as it was awesome, it was also so much more to navigate that we didn't even comprehend until you're in it, and not to take a whole side note, but that's everyone's recruiting right now. You are recruiting so much on the speculation of what we think is going to happen in a federal court while you're trying to follow state laws of not just your own state, but their states. It's the state of Texas has different state laws than what the state of Oklahoma has. And so you're trying to constantly navigate that while coaching your team. And life is changing, and it's every day, every hour, something different is coming up. So that's a really loaded answer to your probably very simple question of, no, we didn't pay her millions of dollars. She did pick it for the right reasons. And I'm really proud of that. And I'm really proud of the fact that she wants to come play with these women in the locker room, because that's what we have to constantly hold and gatekeep, because it's still college athletics. You still want to play basketball with your best friends. And oh, by the way, you got to work really hard to be able to compete for championships. That part hasn't changed. So that's something that we haven't done that we want to do. And so we're really hungry, but we got to get better. That's where our focus has stayed.
Appreciate it, Jennie. And I'll take deep answers any day. So I appreciate you.
I started sounding like Brent Venables there, didn't I? You guys were going to start cutting me off. Sorry,
I'll
Brent.
just say, answer this with one word: no.
Okay, good.
I actually like Brent Venables' questions.
We all do.
I don't know. Well, Jennie, I'm trying to, you're working on new equipment. I know you've lost some size. Is that going to be something you're looking for in the portal?
James, you do. But the way that you manage now is so different. Of course, we want to find some size. You're always looking for size. You're looking for rebounding. But you're also looking for, we lost a lot of shooters. So you're looking for, so you're trying to manage all of that. And so I think there's a variety of positions that we're looking for. And at the same time, you have to manage your locker room, and the NIL rev share models of trying to manage budgets and us turning to the professional kind of way of doing things that comes into play. And I will tell you, we're not just going to chase dollars. We're going to chase the right people. And we want to make sure that the right people fit in the right locker room. And that's something that we have to make sure that we continue to gatekeep. And so the hard thing in that is you're recruiting against the best teams and programs in the country, day in and day out. And that has been an incredible challenge, and one that we will have to continue to refine. And if there was one way to do it, we would all, we would be more successful, but every player is different, which makes it also magical. And so, yes. So yes, to your answer of we're trying. And at the same time, I still really like who we have coming back. And I really like the freshman class that we're going to invest in quite a bit.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You talked about from your guys' perspective as a staff managing this kind of recruitment. What did you learn about Aaliyah and her ability to just the person that she is and her ability to manage not just the expectations that come with being labeled like a top ranked recruit, everything that gets thrown out there on top of continuing to perform at the Jordan Invitational, McDonald's All-American, Olympics, all that stuff?
Well, I think what Aaliyah does, Aaliyah loves playing basketball. So she can shut everything out and she just wants to go out and play. That's my favorite thing about her. My favorite thing about her is she wants to play with a team. She likes to set people up. She can shoot the ball. She can literally on her off days just go shoot on the gun, and she just loves training. She loves the game. I mean, I've seen her in games where she's up, by 100 and she hits a half court shot to end the third quarter and she like dives on the floor with a smile on her face. She just loves it. Like she just loves it. And that's what you want to keep, you want to, you always hear keep the main thing. Her main thing is just to keep that joy of playing, because she's going to work. Like she really wants to work. And so I don't think she gets, too into the wrong things or worried about having to prove, there's still going to be some of that because she's 18 trying to navigate this world. Right. And she's got this huge social following and, you've got rankings that come and they go and they change. And then you got all these different people's opinions, but what we want to be able to do for her is to keep her as grounded as possible. We want to keep her, still loving the game. And I think you got to see that in that Jordan game. I think you get to see that her innate passing ability is really, really special. I mean, she can really put people in some good positions. And at the same time, we know that she can score the basketball but again, she's going to come play in the SEC. So those expectations will follow her, but she knows she's got to keep working. And that's, again, my favorite part about her is she's not going to ever stop working.